NathanIvey.com. Mr. Ivy know the show must go on. And for Cincinnati, man, I put on. Tunes made another flame beat for me to cook on. Raised dogs, close fish, yeah, too strong. Team NI, chop it up at the chop shop. Top notch with the king flow, the hot shot. Cop squats in, listen to the real. Jumping like hopscotch, nobody harder than, oh, no, think not. Not only citywide, but nationwide. Superlative, keep it locked like them Haitian guys. Put the truth in the airwaves, we talk about it. Brand new like the templates, let's be about it. Who got the info about it? Hey, yo, John will be the rapper, got them jamming when they play him. Staying in my lane, they ain't gotta okay him. Who the host with the scoop? Yeah, they gon' say him. Ivy, so superlative like a bag of Drippos. Show you where the bricks at, Cincinnati Red Tag. One time where my people at. Team NI where my people at. It's the 5-1-3, yeah, you know the flow. What's the word, Nate? Let them know the show. One time where my people at. Team NI where my people at.
Where my people at. Good morning to you. Welcome back. It is a beautiful Monday. And hopefully you're ready to talk because I know I am. 513-873-7134. That is my number. It's a free call anywhere in the country and in some places around the world. If you try to dial that number and have any issues, then hit me with a direct message on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, and I'll try to see what I can do on my end. Good morning to you. On today's show, among other things, Tammy Roman, who is a reality television star, she said that she gave her, in a recent interview, she said she gave her husband a hall pass, sort of. And the more I think about it, the more I believe that this is a very mature thing that Tammy Roman has said or decided that she will do with her husband. That's her husband right there. Look at that black love. Hashtag black love. I'm all about it. Good morning to you. Hope you're doing well. Hope you had a great weekend. Who Day? Let me get it out already. Who Day? The Bengals won in big fashion over the Raiders. I saw on my Facebook timeline that a lot of people ended up going out to Las Vegas for the game. If you went out to Vegas for the game, let me know. I hope you had a great time. I have yet to go to Vegas. I'm not even sure if Vegas is my kind of town other than the poker. I'm not really into strip clubs, right? I don't drink, right? And I'm plant-based at this point. So at this point, the only thing that would be a draw for me for Vegas would be the gambling, in particular poker. I don't understand how people go to the casino and do other things other than poker. You know what I'm saying? I don't get it. But do you? I don't know. If I'm gambling my money, I want to bet on me. Bet on my skills against the other man or woman, the other players, as opposed to fighting against the house, because the house always wins. But do you? So the poker, the shows, I travel for a good show now. If it's a hot show with some artists that I really want to see, I'll go to Vegas for that shit. In a second, excuse my language. Lord, forgive me for my brash delivery. I'll be there. But I saw on my Facebook timeline, especially, and even on Instagram, a lot of people that I know, or at least I'm connected with on social media, went out to the game. Looked like they had a gang of fun. I'm happy for you, man. Live your best life. You only got a few years left before we F it all up. You know, humans are messing up our Garden of Eden. Nobody cares about the environment, or should I say not enough people seriously care about the environment. You know, when you got about 20 years left and it's a wrap. It's a wrap. So you better enjoy your life while you can. Shoot, give me some tickets to go see. I'm going to go see the Bengals. Who Day? I think the Bengals are now like 6-4 now, something like that, 6-5. I think it's 6-4, 10 games in. That ain't too bad. I still have major problems with the NFL. It's an all-white man club, and I'm sick of that ish primarily. We need some Black conscious leadership. We also need a team that's owned by the former, current, and future players. Okay? That's what needs to happen. But in terms of just mindless disengagement, just having some fun, enjoy your life, man. Enjoy your life. You like watching the Bengal game? Watch the Bengal game. Enjoy your life. Just don't get too caught up with it. I personally have no expectations for the Bengals whatsoever, and it's a really good place to be in, family. You might want to join me. When you don't have no expectations, you don't get your feelings hurt. When you have zero expectations, You don't get your feelings hurt. I don't get mad. I don't get sad. I don't get overly happy. I just watch it for what it is. They win, they win, they lose, they lose. I want to see some good plays. That's it. To my Bengal fans, that's a young team. Don't get all super excited. The football gods got to put Bengal fans in y'all places because the football gods know that Bengal fans wish they were Steeler fans. Bengal fans can't wait to be as obnoxious as they complain that Steeler fans are. They just can't wait. I know you. I'm from you. I'm one of you. I know what's going on. I know what's going on. Good morning to you. Don't try to front with me. I know you. Good morning to you. Welcome back. This is my humble abode. It's where I do what I do. Good morning to you. Hope you're doing well. A Bengal fan can't wait to get some wins and a champ. Don't let the Bengals get a championship. You Who Dey fans will be, y'all head will be this big. Would be like a helium balloon. Y'all head to be so damn big. That's why the football guys won't bless you with no winner because y'all ain't ready for it. Y'all will be so damn indignant. Won't you, Who Dey fan? You will never let it go. You'll never let it go. And that's why GOD, the football GODs, will not let it happen. Plus, Hamilton County is never going to be blessed with a Super Bowl or any kind of championship until you take care of God's children in Hamilton County. You effed over that sister that was down there with the juvenile courts. You know what I'm talking about. You effed over her. You effed over Timothy Thomas. You botched the case from UC with Sam DuBose, and now you want the football guys to bless Hamilton County. It ain't gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. You can pray how you want to. It's not happening until you take care of God's children that live in Hamilton County. God is never gonna bless you in Hamilton County with a championship. Get over yourself. I was talking with Gio yesterday. He agrees. Tiffany writes, and she's on YouTube. She writes, Nate makes it seem as if you're not supposed to be excited when your team wins. Yeah, you're supposed to be excited. At this point with the Bengals, excited. If you're excited at this point, you're setting yourself up for failure. So I am saying that, Tiffany. My best advice for my Who Dey fans is stay even keel. Don't get too high. Don't get too low. Don't make too much out of the wins. Don't make too much out of the losses. It's a process. The Bengals might be at least a year or 2 or 3 years away from being a major contender. That's if they have the same core together and they don't have any injuries. They got a good core. We'll see. And it's 2 things stopping the Bengals from winning. 3 things. Experience. They got to tweak those uniforms just a little bit more. And like I told you, got to take care of God's children in Hamilton County. It just ain't going to happen. Y'all effed over Tracy Hunter. Now you want God to give you a football championship? This county botched the Sam DuBose trial. Both of them botched it. Speaking of which, did you hear what the Hamilton County prosecutor Joe Dieters said? If not, stick around for that. It has to do with Kyle Rittenhouse. You ain't going to be surprised. You botched that. The inequities in this county still pervade. There's a whole bunch of lip service, but not enough action. Y'all ain't getting no damn championship, but enjoy the games, though. Enjoy the games. I don't mean a ish on your parade because I know that you really care about it, but it ain't happening. Ashley writes, good morning, Nathan and the Choppers. Happy Friday. Good morning to you. Good morning to you. Or happy Monday. Oh! Damn, I'm on Friday already. I will not be broadcasting live on Wednesday because I'll be traveling on Wednesday morning, going out of town with the family. Yeah, like we grown folks and all that kind of stuff. And there's a question mark about Thursday and Friday. It depends on whether I'm able to get a good connection. If I'm able to get a good connection where I'm going to be at, we doing it. I'm going to take my equipment with me on the road. We doing it. And if not, then I'll be back with you probably on Monday. I know that's a big drastic gulf right there. Like no show Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, potentially. Now, of course, I can always go straight Facebook Live straight from my phone. I might even just do that, though. I might just keep it real like that. I think I might do that, actually. Yeah. I think that'll work. Yeah, I think I will. It'll sound differently. It'll look differently. But yeah, I think we will. Yeah, so Wednesday definitely is a no-no. Thursday and Friday is a chance for sun. Okay, I would say it's a good 80-90% chance now that I think about it. Looking forward to it. I hate to be away. Naisha writes, good morning. Hey, good to see you, Naisha. Always good to see you. See my boy back there? Hello, son. How are you? Good. It's great to hear. Anything else?
No.
You want to say good morning?
Good morning.
You got to get closer.
Good morning.
There you go. He's doing great. Got that one class, though, we got to work on. You know that class you didn't get a good grade in? Yeah, okay. We're going to have to remind you then. Other than that, you're doing great. My daughter's doing great well. I'll tell you this. I'll tell you another day when I'm prepared to talk about it, but she has some real world experiences recently. And I'm hoping that because she had this experience early on, that it'll wake her up and make sure she's on point moving forward. But I'll talk about it maybe later in the week. Cass is in the house. She writes, hey, choppers. What's up, Cass? I just love the Melanin Insights podcast. You should tap in on Sundays at 5:30 p.m. If you missed it, circle back around. Sisters doing a thing, talking about the world from a melanated perspective, the mind of Black women, and on a variety of different topics. It's always a lot of fun. Very interesting to hear what people think. Check it out. Kelly writes, good morning. Good morning, Kelly. How many people got a chance to check out Straight Talk over the weekend? Hopefully you did. Hopefully you did. And let me see. I got the cover art here. There it is. She talked with Deja McClendon. Deja McClendon. It was very interesting. She talked about, bald boldness. And she's completely bald. She looks just like that on the video stream. Not bad on the eyes. But even better than that, she seemed like a very intelligent woman. And she's an athlete. And it was very interesting what she talked about. Apparently, she's suffering from alopecia, which is something that a lot of women suffer from, and even women of color. And I thought it was a very interesting conversation. You should tap into it and check it out. And here's a cover off from Melanin Insights, Tragic Realities of America. They talked about Kyle Rittenhouse, which I want to talk about a little bit. He did an interview, and some things came out of the interview that we have to talk about. They talked about this sicko former NFL player that beat up his girlfriend. Like, what kind of man does something like that to a woman? You see this video? I'll just refuse to play the video because I just don't want to play it. You know what I'm saying? Y'all might be like, well, Nate, you show those other videos and you're right. But for whatever reason, I'm just drawing a line and saying about this for whatever reason. You know what I'm saying? That's somebody needs to catch up with this brother and whoop his ass. And as a matter of fact, the authorities did catch up with him and he got bonded out. Throwing this one all around and her baby right there, your baby with her right there. I mean, come on, man. What kind of man does that? And also they hit the baby and Danny Lay. That's the topic that just keeps on giving over the weekend. Everybody had an opinion about that. And rightfully so. It's a hot topic for sure. Good morning to you. Cleopatra Jones writes, Grand Risings, Nathan Ivey in the Choppers. Good morning to you. Good morning to you. Nikki writes, good morning, everyone. Good morning to you. Yo writes, good morning. Happy Hoo Day. Happy Hoo Day, huh? We back to that. Speaking of being back to it, on Friday, I confessed to you that I was off my regimen a little bit for about a week. I hadn't been walking the same way. I was doing everything else. My diet will never change. My diet is what it is. That's never going to change. I'm never going to go back to what I was eating before, as long as I can afford it. You know what I'm saying? That's pricey. But in terms of my cardiovascular, I kind of stepped away from it just a little bit. And sometimes you got to do that. Picked it back up over the weekend, and it feels great. When you start a routine, especially something around your body, and you stop doing it for a while, I don't know about you, man, but sometimes I be feeling like bad about that shit. I'd be like, damn, Nate, you're supposed to be doing what you're supposed to do for your self-love. I call it self-love. I don't even call it working out. I call it self-love. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what it is, loving myself. You know what I'm saying? We spend 8, 9, 10 hours a day working for other people. You telling me I can't take 30 minutes to an hour to love me? Psh, please. And you can't pour out of an empty cup, which means that you got to make sure your cup is full before you start giving to other people. Saying, love yourself, man. Can I get an amen for that? Jerome writes, you hear my daughter back there, you can't hear her, can you? Jerome writes, good morning, Nate and Choppers. Good morning to you. Since you're talking, sis, I mean, why don't you go ahead and pop your head in there? There you go. There you go. They can't see. You're all blurred out. They can see you, but they can't see it nice and sharp. We see you. Okay. Goodbye. We love you. Have a great day. Gladys writes, living my life, life is golden. Living my life, life's a dope ass song. Living my life. Tiffany writes, good morning, everyone. So let me talk about a couple things. I want to talk about Tammy Roman a little bit because I like some spicy topics, some things off the beaten path a little bit, but still maybe can have an impact in your life. I want to talk about Kyle Rittenhouse. I want to talk about Joe Dieters and his comments about Kyle Rittenhouse. I want to talk about the power of Black voters and the power of Black dollars as it relates to the political machine here locally. I want to talk about all of that this morning, plus a smattering of other topics that have to deal with people, politics, and pleasure. Okay, so let's get into it, shall we? Y'all ready for this? Let's dive right in. So Tammy Roman, if you don't know, is a big time reality television star. She's been on reality television since like the beginning of reality television, going way, way, way back 25 plus years ago when she was on the cast of The Real World New York. And everywhere she goes, there's some drama that follows because of her personality. And people must like her because she keeps a job. She keeps a job. And that man right there is her husband. And apparently they have been trying to get pregnant for some time. And they've been unable to because Tammy Roman is 51 now. And she confessed in a recent interview that they have been trying this for a while, for many years now. Apparently her husband really wants to get married. I mean, get pregnant. He wants to have a child, and he wants to have a child with her. And she had like 3 miscarriages. And then she said, enough is enough. So she told her husband that if he really wants to have a child and continue his legacy, that she would give him a hall pass, sort of. He would have a hall pass to impregnate another woman. He could step away from the relationship for about 1 or 2 years, do what he got to do, create this child, and then maybe they'll come back together afterward. Because she said, I'm tapped out, boss. Eyes tired, boss. Eyes tired. Eyes tired, boss. I'm tapping out, right? She says, I'm tapped out on the kids. And I can get it. At 51, you trying to have a kid at 50. What the fuck is wrong with you? But everybody's in a different place. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's in a different place. So she said that she gave her husband a pass to, as I said, have a child with another woman. And he would step away from the relationship for about a year or two and then come back to the relationship and they just pick right back up. Now, what is she doing during that 1 or 2 year hiatus while he's doing whatever he's doing? She probably doing whatever she want to do, whatever that means, right? And, people have been making a big deal out of this because it challenges conventional wisdom. It challenges what is the normal reaction that you would expect from a lot of people. But you know what? I kind of feel like this is quite mature on Tammy Roman's part. I think it's a very quite mature way of looking at it. And it shows to me, at least from her standpoint, that it could show that she has a lot of emotional maturity and is very self-confident in herself. That's kind of what I'm reading from it, because like, look, you're in a relationship with this man wants to have a child with you. He wants to have another child for his legacy. That's all he's talking about. You tapped out. Your fallopian tube is like, it's tired, boss. We ain't creating them kind of eggs no more. And that's what she said. She was like, basically, it was an egg thing. I'm 51 now. It just wasn't going to work. So she didn't want to go through that. And I can imagine, like, you ever gone through a miscarriage before? That can be very, very emotional and traumatic for a couple, especially if you're dealing with a couple that wants to have a kid. Hold on a second. I'm doing my fingernails. You might hear me doing that. Yeah, I like my nails to be done right when I'm on the air. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? What's up with that? Nothing. Come on, now I'm at home. Give me some space to breathe and clip these nails real quick. If I don't do it right now, I might forget. And I can do more than one thing at one time. So I think, and I want to get the thoughts of women out there, I think this is a potentially very mature way of looking at a situation like this. Like, a lot of women be like, you better not do that. You're my man with another woman. What you gonna do? I ain't compete with no other woman, another baby, and all this kind of stuff. But you know what? I think at 51, Tammy's like, you know what? If that's what you really want to do, boo, live your best life. Live your best life. If that's what you really want to do, you should live your best life, no matter whether we married or not. Having been married for 21 years now, what I can tell you is I think that you do at a certain point get to a point where you become confident in yourself enough where you can let your spouse be who they want to be. Now, I think it's completely different. Like if you flip this and a woman said, I want to have a baby, ain't no man going for that. I ain't going for that shit. Hell no. Do what now? And where the baby gonna live at? With us? So let me get this straight. Another man's baby gonna move in with us, and I'm gonna be the father? Fuck that. Oh, excuse my language. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Lord, forgive me for my brash delivery. Oh my God. F that. Ain't nobody going for that. But women are different. Women are different. Sorry about that. Little housekeeping there. Had to take care of it. Women are different, right? Women are much different. God made y'all different. And I can see that. I can see it. Because on one hand, it's kind of like, if that's what makes him happy, she seems to be mature enough to make that sacrifice to allow him to do whatever he want to do so he can be happy. Ain't no threat to her. She ain't worried about it. That's him. And then secondly, you can't stop somebody from doing what they want to do. So I guess she's kind of saying, listen, if you really want a baby so bad, instead of you going out here and doing something behind my back, just be real about it and be upfront about it. And we can kind of work things out. I don't know. Maybe this is some of that new age kind of shit, some of that Will and Jada type stuff. I don't know. But I am curious as to get your thoughts on it. In particular, I want to hear from the women. I want to hear from women. Could you ever see yourself? You're in a long-term relationship or you're married, not even long-term. You don't want no more kids. You're done with the kids. Your fallopian tubes have said enough is enough. There's a big X on your fallopian tubes. Both of them. Because you got two, right? Tubes, plural. Big red X here and here. Ain't no more babies coming out of here. But your husband want to have a child. What you going to do? Now, you could always adopt, but that's so old school, right? Who's adopting out here? I want to do what Dwayne Wade did, right? I don't fucking know. I don't know, man. I don't know. You have to tell me on this. 513-873-7134. If you want to share your thoughts, you might be onto some other things, which is cool with me. I got no problem with it. I got no problems with it whatsoever. So he got a hall pass, sort of. Now, what's interesting is his response. And I'll share that with you in a second. Like, she talked about what she told him, but she also shared in the interview what his response was. And his response, I don't think it's surprising at all, actually. Some people might be surprised, but I don't think it's surprising at all. It goes to show you that black men don't cheat. Just goes to show you. Just goes to show you. Regina writes, good morning, all. Hey, good morning, Regina. TNT writes, good morning. Nikki writes, wow, wow, Nate. Tiffany writes, huh? The hate is real. Who they? Nikki writes, no one wants to be a Squealers fan. Yeah, I don't know about that one, Nikki. Bengal fans can't wait to be in a position that the Steelers fans have been in. Got you a couple championships. Black and yellow, orange and black, black and orange, black and orange. You're gonna get Wiz Khalifa to remix black and orange, black and orange, black and orange. Right? Quit fronting. I know you Cincinnatians. I know you. I am you. I understand. I just can't wait to say, aha. Oh my God, I can't wait for y'all to get it off your chest. Cash Rice said, Nate, y'all want to be winners so bad, they do. Betting Public Sports Show writes, why be married if you're going to let him knock up others? What's the point? That's what you get when someone is famous for being a baby mama of an average NBA player, probably when Kenny married a white lady. Tiffany writes, Nate makes it seem as if you're not supposed to be excited. I think I read that already. Naisha writes, period. Brent writes, good morning, Nate Choppers. Checking in from Dallas, Texas. Naisha writes, enjoy your holiday. Yo writes, you sounded like a Debbie Downer, bro. I'm not being a Debbie Downer. Enjoy your win. But it's just one win. It's just one win. You know what I'm saying? So be easy. Be easy. Give yourself some latitude. Don't be so hard on yourself. If they win, they lose next week. Who they playing next week? Some bums or something? I don't know. But whoever they're playing next week, just take it game by game. Just enjoy the game. That's it. Reese writes, Gloria's resurrection. That way you don't get your feelings hurt. Remember when we had I'm gonna call him out, bring him into the conversation. But remember we had Kevin Aldridge on? Remember that? He came on like 3 weeks ago and he was talking about the start of the new season for the Ohio Kings, which by the way, check them out. It's a good time. Take the family over there. It's a good time. Black owned. You're gonna love it. We enjoy the environment, enjoy the game. And you get you some snacks. Get that VIP and get you some snacks. And then people even made suggestions about vegan snacks because plant-based is huge these days. Plant-based is huge. You're losing out on revenue. But remember, he was all in his face like, man, I ain't been able to talk to nobody after the Bengals lost. Who they lose to? They lost to the Jets, I think it was. He's like, I ain't been able to talk to nobody. See, I could tell that Kevin had too many expectations going into the game. No expectations. Whatever the score is what the score is. Just enjoy. If you like football, just enjoy the plays. Your team wins, they win. They lose, they lose. Nikki Rice, thank you. Nisha Rice, don't blast him like that. You talking about my son? Yeah, I'm gonna use that village method with our children. You know what I'm saying? You want to be on cam? Yeah, tell the people what them grades you got. Mm-hmm. Tell them people about the note we got from your teacher. Mm-hmm. Nikki, they hate it too. They be like, why you do that, Dad? What you mean why I do that? You did it. I'm not covering for nobody. I'm not covering for no children. You come in here with some bad grades, you got bad grades. You know, if we had to have a call with the teacher or the principal or whatever, because you did some dumb-ish, you just did some dumb-ish. I'm not going to hide it. I'm going to tell everybody. I'm going to tell your grandma and them, all your uncles, so they can give you like that little look. And hopefully that collectively will keep you on a straight path. Hopefully, if not, then so be it. Gladys writes, what does Gladys write? She writes, good morning. Good to see you. Tracy writes, hi. What is that avatar, Tracy? What is that avatar? I can't make it out. The picture's so small. David writes, good morning, Nate in the Choppers. Good morning to you. Jada writes, good morning to Mr. Nate in the Choppers. Good morning to you. Naisha writes, I see nothing wrong with her decision. Really? Okay. I think it's a very mature thing. It's a very mature thing. Nat writes, good morning, Choppers. Good morning to you, Nat. People like Tammy because she is a babe. The woman is gorgeous. You think so? Yeah, she ain't bad. Lately, she's been looking really, really, really kind of like not all right. Like she done lost super weight. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, she ain't bad. She ain't bad. Woody writes, my zone 15 wifey said, hell no. Now, why does she say hell no? Why? It's because she don't want the burden of taking care of another baby? I can see that. Like, if you allow your husband to have a hall pass to have a child, you now have a financial burden, and that ain't even your biological kid. I get that. Is it because of the emotional entanglements? You're afraid that she's afraid that you emotionally will get caught up with another woman, or she just don't want you to be with another woman because she don't want nobody touching her stuff. I mean, whatever. What's the issue? Cass writes, I don't see a problem with it. If they have a mutual agreement and it works for them and they raise a child together, it's basically a surrogate type deal. Exactamundo. That's what I thought. It's basically, it's basically a surrogate. Sorry about that. I'm shaking everything and breaking every rule in the book. But it's basically a surrogate type of thing. You're right about that. That's essentially what it is. It's no different. Oh man, I'm just talking. I'm just talking away. Thank you so much, fam. I appreciate that. I'm just talking away. Where was I at? Brian writes, damn, that's some loud nail clipping. What you got? Bear claws? No, I got adamantium claws, like Black Panther. No, he had vibranium. Vibranium claws. Vibranium claws. I got them from Wakanda. Yeah, brother Nadir, we didn't talk about it because it's kind of like a secret, but he got a chance to go to Wakanda when he was in Ghana. And he picked me up some vibranium tipped gloves. And so I've been rocking with them. So that's what it was. Sorry about that. Brenda writes, good morning. Krutha writes, Steelers, black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow. Tanika writes, good morning, Nate and the Choppers. Good morning to you. Crystal Wheel writes, see, I'm getting it so much. I'm so much gold star for Nathan. I'm getting it right. Hello, great morning, Nathan and the Choppers. Good morning to you. I understand. I just hope they both feel the same afterwards. Introducing a child, especially in these circumstances, it may blow up in their face. You're right about that. You're right about that. So in the interview, Tammy Roman talked about how her husband and her had been trying to have a child for some time. Apparently, he really wants to have a kid. And so, number one, this whole myth about black men not wanting kids is not true. His brother right there is in love with this woman. He wants to have a child with his queen. I get it. He wants to have a child with his queen. And she told him that he could basically have a hall pass for a year or two, basically a surrogate situation, and then come back to the relationship and they pick back up. You got your legacy baby. You got your junior. Like most men want to have a son. Most men want to have a son, right? And most men want to have a son that they name after them. I'll say it again. I do not understand men who don't name their firstborn after them. It's weak. I'm put it out there. I don't understand it. That's your child. Your firstborn should be named after you. Junior, your junior. You should name your firstborn after nobody else other than your damn self. That's your son. Anyway. So he wanted to have a legacy baby, maybe a son, something like that. She's like, yeah, go ahead and do that. Well, apparently she revealed in the interview that he said, nah, sis, I don't want to do that with some strange woman. I want to have a child with you. I'm loosely paraphrasing, but apparently his response was, God, you're my queen. God wants me to be with you. And if that means I don't have a child, that must be God's will. That's what the brother told her. And see, black men don't cheat. Black men don't cheat. See, I just want to give this brother props because a lot of women would have been like, oh, he just going to run with that. These dirty dog. Anything they put, they're going to do it, right? Not every man is like that. You got plenty of men like that, but not every man is like that. Not every man is like that. You said, nah, I want to have a child with you, babe. You're my wife. I don't want to have a child with a surrogate. And if we decide we're not going to have a child together, then we're not going to do it. And I just want to put that out there because that's the other side of the story that'll probably be forgotten. The virtues of this black man. Now, next week, he'll probably do some dumb ish and we'll be talking about him. But right now, the virtues of this black man, right? He said, nah, babe, my desire to have a child is with you, not with just any old body. I respect that. I can feel that. Black men don't cheat. Black men don't cheat. Brian writes, it's 6 wins. Thank you. Janice writes, good Monday, everyone. Brian writes, see, there it is. You're holding your true Bengal fan back because you're scared to be disappointed. LOL, embrace it, Nate. Nah, I mean, I'm like that across the board. I'm like that with the Lakers. Like literally, y'all, over the years, when I watch it, it's just something to watch. I'm not emotionally invested because I don't make no money off of it. I don't get emotionally invested unless I'm making some bread off of it. I don't get caught up in no damn game like that. Like I look like I don't wear no jerseys. If I ain't getting paid, it don't mean that much to me. It's just something to watch. I'm just being real with you, Brian. I could care less, really. Lakers, over the years, I rep for LeBron, but if they lose, they lose. When they lost, they lost. Last year, I watched just as much of the NBA Finals as I would have watched if the Lakers was there, which was not a lot. I typically, at this point in my life, I can't sit down for 2 hours and watch no whole game. I just can't do it. I'm a highlight person. House of Highlights on YouTube. That's my favorite YouTube channel to watch NBA highlights on. They got a special license, so they got all the best clips, all that kind of stuff. So no, it's not about being scared to be disappointed. I'm just not making no money off of it. So I don't care. That's what it really comes down to. If I was making some money off the Bengals, man, listen, I have t-shirts on, all that. Man, I'll be there with it because I'm getting something out of it. But, my team won. That ain't my damn team. That's not your team. That team belongs to the Brown family, period. So that's how I look at it. I just have fun with it across the board. Either it's a setup or she knew how he would respond. Either way, think it's a setup. What, women setting up. See, black men don't cheat, but black women be trying to set up men. Is that what you're trying to say, Woody? Who said that? Brent. What was you trying to say? Black men, say it with me. Black men don't cheat. We got another example here. This brother was given a hall pass, and he said, no, that's not what I want. I was going to make that point. Woody writes, fair weather bungle fans will be breaking their legs jumping off the bandwagon. Kelly writes, at 51, Tammy don't want the daily responsibility of raising a whole baby anymore. If she cared about his legacy, she let him go on with his life, love him enough to let him go. That will be a whole mess. Naisha writes, exactly. Brian writes, Tammy is too skinny for my taste. Got to have meat on bones. Everybody got different. Oh, I was miming. I'm just effing with you. I'm just effing with you. Brent writes, with the surrogate, you don't take a 2-year hiatus from your marriage to go get another woman pregnant. Also, with the surrogate, they give up their parental rights in most cases. Exactly. Iona writes, good morning, Nathan and Choppers. David writes, Junior pulled the plug. Yo writes, that's that Virgo mess. Exactly. Tammy has her husband by 17 years. She already had 2 adult children. Meanwhile, her hubby has none. I'm not going to stop him from having one of the most greatest gifts in the world, which is the ability to reproduce. A glorious moment. Nikki wright, what does he want to do? He wants to have a child. She doesn't. So she gave him a hall pass to have a child with another woman and then come back to the relationship. It might be, and somebody just gave us the differences between this situation and a surrogate situation. It might be that a surrogate situation is better for them. It might be that. But I think that showed a lot of maturity on both their parts. For her to even suggest something like that, and then from him to turn it down. He's like, no, I don't want that, sis. I don't want that. I want you. Black men don't cheat. That's all I'm trying to say. Cass writes, if she tried to give him a child and she continues to miscarry and her eggs are no longer viable, there isn't much else she can do. 1 miscarriage is hard enough on a woman, let alone 3. I can imagine that. Brian is correct. He writes, Wolverine has adamantium. Okay, Marvel guy. I know, I self-corrected. Oh, man. Nikki writes, he gave the right answer. TNT writes, that black man don't cheat. Glenn writes, good morning, Nate and the Choppers. Nikki writes, I'm glad to hear how he feels about it. Yo writes, she's lucky to have a good black man. It's a lot of good black men out here. Jerica writes, hola, beautiful black people, and the others too. Good to see you. Jerry writes, speaking of the Lakers, anyone see last night? I saw the clips. I know that LeBron smacked the dude in the face either by accident or accident/on purpose. Yo, check it. When you play basketball, you're going to catch an elbow. You're going to catch an elbow. You're going to catch all that kind of stuff. It's just part of the game, especially if you're down there in the paint. It's part of it. And depending on, your relationship with the dude and what he say afterward, it might go to another level. And that's what happened. LeBron was boxing at a dude on a free throw attempt, and I think inadvertently smacked him in the mouth, opened up a gash on his face. He was bleeding really, really badly. And dude wanted to get at LeBron. I think it was some fake-ish because you got all these people trying to bar you and stop you and holding you back, and you trying to be the tough guy. If you really felt that way, then go see LeBron after the game. All that fake tough talk and all that trying to get at you on the game. I mean, when the game is going on, that's a waste of time. Kevin writes, good morning, family. The bag starts with assets versus liabilities. If your car, a depreciating asset, is more value than your home, apartment, uh, minus minus apartment equals no value to you, the bag is really hard to attain. Woody writes, she would be 61 with a 10-year-old. Wow, his answer should have been the real headline. I thought his answer was everything. That's part of the reason I'm bringing it up. Black men don't cheat. They try to play black men like black men just can't wait. And there's some men like that, black, white, or whatever. It's like they live for Il Nana. And I get it. I'm a man. Il Nana is a beautiful thing. But not every man in a relationship is like that. This is a brother who say, you know what? I got this opportunity. I don't want that because I'm choosing you, sis. I'm choosing love. Bunky writes, what's up, Nate and the Choppers? Good morning to you. Ben writes, only teams I'm invested in are my son's team. Like you said, Nate, I don't make no money off of them. Yeah, I mean, my daughter is on the cheerleading squad. We invested in that because it costs money. Them cheerleading outfits and little shit they be doing, ain't even little shit. Not little. They went to camp, pockets. She just told us now that she got to have some new cheerleading shoes just for basketball. Pockets, right? I'm invested in that. I care way more about my daughter's cheerleading team than I do any professional sports team out there because it don't mean nothing to me. It's just fun. My identity is not a Bengal fan or a sports fan. Now, if I was a part owner on the team, shit, I'd be wearing Nalia every time you saw me. Every time you saw me. But I'm not, so I'm not. Jerker writes, I believe Tammy has some medical issues. Really? Is that the reason why she be looking real frail and thin on her Instagram? I'm just concerned about sis. I'm not here to take any shots at her. I'm just concerned about sis. That's it. The wifey brought this to my attention. She was like, have you seen Tammy Roman lately? I'm like, Tammy who? Tammy Roman. Oh, you mean on reality TV? No. And then, we do what couples do. She went to her Instagram. She went to Instagram and showed me. I'm like, ooh, big weight loss. Big weight loss. But again, maybe she's trying to lose weight. Here's a picture right here. See, can you see that? Look at that. That's a lot of weight loss, sis. That ain't natural. Maybe it's plant-based or something. I don't know. She looks very, 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 very thin to me. Like extremely thin. Here's another picture. I'm worried about her too, Jerica. Look at that. Like, who you trying to be? You're not no Barbie doll. God damn it. Damn white supremacy. Damn you, white supremacy. Making our sisters feel like you got to bleach your skin and have blonde highlights and be waif thin. Y'all don't need none of you. Don't just be your natural self. That's all you got to do. Like I said, over the weekend, I thought it was a very excellent conversation. Shout out to Edna Howell and the work she's doing. But I thought it was an excellent conversation for some, not everybody. But she talked with Deja McClendon. Sister's bald, but still beautiful. And she has alopecia. She decided, you know what? I'm just going to cut it all off and be me. And my comment about a woman's hair is the hair don't make the woman. It's cool and all. And, you can pull it. And you can do different things with it and shit like that. Yeah, I did say you can pull it. But that's not what really makes the woman. It's the woman that makes the woman, not your hair. There's some women out there that is bald or really, really close shape and they confident in themselves. It is the biggest turn on ever because there's nothing more of a turn on than confidence. You know what I'm saying? Meanwhile, you go on motherfucking my language this morning. Bad Nathan. Lord forgive me for my brash to let me. Meanwhile, you go on Instagram and you see these sisters trying to be they best Barbie. You're never going to be a Barbie doll. It's a wrap for you. You can't have that. And I'm not trying to say that's what Tammy Roman's trying to do because she's a big time star. So she's in a whole different level and I get it. But Shannon writes, a surrogate still means their baby. A hall pass means his baby. Look at Shannon in here. Dropping gems. Tammy Roman thinks she's slick. Thank you, Shannon. She thinks she's slick. She's trying to set bro up for failure. That what you trying to do, Tammy? I think Shannon is right. A surrogate means their baby. A hall pass means his baby. So when your funky ass here I go again. Lord, forgive me for my brash delivery. So when your ass start messing up, then I'm gonna leave your ass and you gonna take care of your child. She's trying to set bro up. Arnell writes a lot of points on this issue. Exactly, a lot of points. Jason writes, Tammy been crazy as F since the Real World when she got the black dude kicked out. I'll never forget it. She got David kicked off the Real World. He was the first person to get kicked off Real World. Did he deserve it? Did he deserve it? Yes and no. I don't think that his intent was to sexually harass her. But I think he was playing too much in that moment, Jason, going way back. It seems like you was a fan of Real World way back in the day, and so was I. I watched like the first 5 seasons, like every episode. I was into the reality television thing, even though they had like 1 or 2 black person per season, and they always had some issue. But remembering back, I don't think he was trying to sexually harass her, but that was the impact. So it was intent versus impact. Like your intent might be one thing, but your impact could be something completely different. And you're responsible for both. You're responsible for the impact. And she made a big deal about it. And she turned into like this Me Too movement thing way before we said Me Too. And he got kicked off the show. He was a comic. I thought it was effed up. I was really mad at her for a long, long time. I'm still mad at her about that because I thought it was wrong. And then, what's funny is she became that person on reality television that got known for putting her hands on people and disrespecting people and trying to physically intimidate people and all this kind of stuff. It was very interesting. Janice writes, his feelings is there is nothing like having a child with that one you love. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. 100%. Brenda writes, good morning. Jerica writes, it's not that she does not want a child. They've not been successful with their attempts to get pregnant. Right. She said that she had tried and had 3 miscarriages, which you can only imagine how emotional is that? You get all excited. Y'all got this baby. You got this family. As a woman, she's got this life growing in her that she can feel. And then, she has a miscarriage. That's very emotional for women. Very emotional. I've been with women who've had miscarriages, and it's very emotional. It's very, very emotional. And she probably don't want to go through that again. I completely respect it. That's got to be interesting right there. Look at you just cutting straight through the meat, straight to the bone, huh, Shannon? I like it. I'm here for it. Watch out. The LeBron fan club is stronger than Chop Shop. LeBron can do no wrong in their eyes. Do no wrong? I don't know about that. Brian writes, LBJ needs a 1-game suspension. KBJ didn't want that heat. He meant to do that ish. I don't know. He might have. Sometimes you playing ball with a dude and you just don't like him, or y'all going back and forth. You hit him with one. And it took many an elbow. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. He did the right thing. He stood up for himself. He let LeBron, everybody else know, watch your hands. You know what I'm saying? Like, for instance, I don't remember anybody ever mistakenly hitting Kenyon Martin in the face. I'll never remember anybody mistakenly hitting Kenyon Martin in the face, because they knew if you hit that brother in the face, you got a problem on your hands right then and there, right? So yeah, LeBron knew who to hit mistakenly by accident and who not to hit mistakenly by accident. That's why I thought the brother's reaction is what his reaction is. I've been on the basketball court, and you got to expect it. When men get together, and I miss that energy. When men get together, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. But I think that there's a way to stand your ground and also be respectful at the same time. So I had no problem with it. To me, it was some good NBA fun. Like I said, I grew up watching the NBA where Robert Parrish would smack a mofo across his face on purpose and stay in the game. There was no suspension. There was no tech. He get a foul. They pick the brother up, or whoever. They pick the player up. He brushes it off. He might jaw back and forth. He walks to the line. The game keeps going. That's the NBA that I grew up watching, where, they used to put Jordan on his ass every time. Elbows, hit you in the face, clobber you. No technicals. Just get your ass up and get up there and shoot them free throws. So, you know, when I was playing ball more recreationally, that was the reality of it. Like, nobody was out there doing that because you out here playing in the streets. You do some shit like that, you got a problem in your hands right there and there. But things don't get rough. That's a man's game. They want to wussify everything and make everything so soft. Elbows is part of the game. Getting clobbered is part of the game. As a man, when somebody playing the game. Like I said, I've done it before where a mofo clobbered me and I knew he was on some DS. I had to check him. I knew he was on B. I had to check his ass right then and there. And I've played where people clobbered me and I knew they was just trying to go for the ball. And they like, my bad, D. First name starts with a D. And that's it. Keep on going. I use my middle name. That's how most people know me. Brent writes, Nate, that was an elbow to the temple. What nothing fake about that blood streaming down his face. I get it. I get it 100%. Like I said, he had every reason to be upset. He had every reason to want to get at LeBron James. He had every reason. He has to as a man, because if he let LeBron get away with that, then other dudes around the league going to be smacking him in the face too. You can't do that. So I get it. But I thought that all that extra stuff trying to go through the crowd, I'm like, you're not going to get to him, man. I mean, say that for later. And if you really wanted to do that, he was face to face with LeBron. He could have swung on him right then. But you waited until all the teams and the referees and the coaches get out there between the two of you, and now you want to start running at him. When a mofo wants you, he going to get you right then and there. He ain't waiting. That's not how that works. And when a man got a problem with you and he want to put hands on you, he going to put hands on you. He's not going to wait until 3 or 4 people get between you and then start tough. That's not how that works, at least not in my opinion. Jerica writes, speaking of surrogates, why don't people speak on Sherry Shepherd and her having to pay child support for the child that she didn't want? Shaking my head. Why you bring that up, Jerica? Now, why you bringing up old stuff? Now, I got a bone to pick with that damn Sherry Shepherd. She's very talented, by the way. She's very talented. I think she's a very talented woman. She's a very good host. She was hosting a couple of these game shows, like the Newlywed Game Show. I thought she did a great job. But she set that man up for failure. Y'all came into a relationship and agreement to have a surrogate. Then you break up with him because of whatever, and now the baby's just his. No, you're going to have to pay child support. She should be paying child support because she was a part of the agreement to get a surrogate. So we married. We decided to get a surrogate baby. We use my sperm, but not your eggs because your eggs aren't viable. But we both agree to this. I go out and the doctors do what they do with the sperm and the egg from a surrogate. We bring a baby home. The baby is biologically mine. God damn it, that baby is legally yours too. So she should be paying child support. Don't get me started on damn Sherry Shepherd. Why you bring her up? Don't set me off in this mofo. Let me talk about a few other things this morning because I want to talk about Kyle Rittenhouse. And Kyle Rittenhouse most recently went on the Tucker Carlson show. A lot of people say that Tucker Carlson is a straight up racist. What I would say is, from a media standpoint, I see why Tucker Carlson keeps a job. I can see he's good at what he does. I will give him props on that. Tucker Carlson is good at stirring the pot. He knows how to do what he does for his audience. That's why he keeps a job. That's why his ratings stay high, because he's good at what he does. His politics and the impact of what he does, I don't like it. I think he's on some soft racism type ish. That's what I think. I think that while he's talking about how we need to have a colorblind society and I'm anti-racist, he really uses racism as a part of his daily flow on his show to engender himself to the audience. And it works like a charm. And I think that the way his show is set up, I can see why it's successful. It's set up to utilize what he's good at. So that's what I have to say about Tucker Carlson. But Kyle Rittenhouse, the man who, and again, what's y'all thoughts on this? Do we need to bring more sophistication to our conversation? I think that we do. I think that Black people in particular need to be more sophisticated in our approach. I was recently speaking with a Black person who I think very highly of. And this person was sharing with me um, some details and some plans that they recently put in place. And I thought I was very quietly impressed. I was like, that is a very smart idea. Very smart idea. And it had to do with local politics and city council. And I thought it was very sophisticated. And I thought to myself, we need more of this kind of sophistication when it comes to our local politics and politics in general. And I'm wondering, was there a lack of education and insight and sophistication that people brought to the Kyle Rittenhouse case? Because my question is was there a travesty done in the Kyle Rittenhouse case, or was it always self-defense? Now, I'll be honest with you, family. I did not follow that case the way maybe some of you did. So I'm going to rely on you. So I don't know all the details. But is the reason why Kyle Rittenhouse was acquitted is because there wasn't a strong case against him? Or was it because he's a white male? And white tears to a white jury is always going to go a long way. So Kyle Rittenhouse was recently on, let me play this clip for you. He was recently on Tucker Carlson's show, and here's what he had to say. I want you to check this out. Check this out.
This case has nothing to do with race. It never had anything to do with race. It had to do with the right to self-defense.
Right.
I'm not a racist person. I support the BLM movement. I support peacefully demonstrating. And I believe there needs to be change. I believe there's a lot of prosecutorial misconduct, not just in my case, but in other cases. And it's just amazing to see how much a prosecutor can take advantage of somebody.
Well, if you were black, bro, Kyle, you wouldn't be amazed. That's our everyday reality. Prosecutors, law enforcement have been exercising their power in a way that has led to the mass incarceration, and in a lot of cases, the unjust incarceration of primarily melanated people since the beginning of jails and melanated people introduction on this continent. And he's like, oh, it's amazing to me. There's some of that. And again, two things here. Kyle Rittenhouse is a younger man. He's not a little boy, but he's not a grown man yet. Right? So his comments and things like that have to be taken with a bit of a grain of salt. Or not even grain of salt, but with that in mind, with that caveat. What is he, 17, 18 years old? Now, Kyle Rittenhouse he didn't kill anybody black. This was a white on white crime situation. Kyle Rittenhouse did not kill anybody black. But he says that race was never a part of this. And of course, that's not true because his race matters. Like in America, the race of the perpetrator matters, whether you're black or non-white or non-black. Also, the racial makeup of the jury matters. So race did play a factor in this Kyle Rittenhouse. It played a factor in the way that the judge and the jury would perceive him and perceive the whole situation. Now, I don't know this. I'm speaking hypothetically. I have no insight. I'm not a lawyer. I'm dying to hear what Donnie B thinks about it. I keep telling Donnie I miss her. And she plans to be back. She's busy right now. I miss her voice and her thoughts on these kind of things. But for any lawyers out there, people that are close to the legal industry, I'd like to get your thoughts on it. I want to get any black lawyers out there. I mean, I want to hear from some black lawyers. I want to know what black lawyers think. Like, is the reason why Kyle Rittenhouse was acquitted because there was never a strong case against him from the beginning? Was it the particular charges? Or was it the combination of the jury or was it a jury makeup or a combination of all of it? And what about the judge? Like some of the decisions by this judge, Bruce Schroeder, a lot of people are looking at it and they're like, oh, this dude was trying to make sure that Kyle Rittenhouse got off no matter what. And I've got the details of some of the things that people said. 2 days ago, MSNBC, the Rittenhouse trial judge's performance was controversial, but it wasn't unfair. The Daily Beast, 2 days ago, the Kyle Rittenhouse judge's 6 most shocking moments at trial. I want to read them to you. 6 most shocking moments. In no particular order. Number 1, the rifle loophole. One of the easiest charges for prosecutors to prove, according to legal experts, was a misdemeanor weapons possession count over Rittenhouse's gun. In Wisconsin, anyone under the age of 18 is prohibited from owning a dangerous weapon. No one disputed that Kyle Rittenhouse was 17 years old when he brought a rifle to Kenosha, which could have put him in jail for up to 9 months. But the Rittenhouse lawyers found a loophole stemming from a 1991 bill, which allows minors to own rifles or shotguns as long as they are not short-barreled. Rittenhouse's AR-15 was not short-barreled, with Schroeder used to dismiss the gun charge last week. That's why he didn't get the gun charge. What about the jury raffle? Schroeder was slammed by legal experts for allowing Rittenhouse to pick the names of the final 12 jurors himself. I'd like to get your thoughts about that. What do you think? And I'll read through the other. Matter of fact, let me post this link for you because you might find this to be interesting. I know we got a lot of smart, intelligent people who like to read shit for themselves. Nate, I can read from my Dammy. There it is. I just posted on CDM's page. There it is. You can check it out for yourself. Check it out for yourself. So which is it? Was Kyle Rittenhouse basically not guilty and that's why he was acquitted? Was it because of his race and the jury makeup? You know, these white folks, some of these, it's completely plausible. Did he start weeping? And he cleaned up nice too. Look at him. Put that suit on. Got that military cut. Look at that. That could be my boy. Look at I didn't mean to. I had to. They were chasing me. It begs the question, if he never had brought the AR-15, would he still be alive? If Kyle Rittenhouse didn't have his weapon with him, would he still be alive? Personally, I would not be surprised if this psycho sicko, and I do believe that Kyle Rittenhouse is a psycho sicko. There's a lot of them. I do believe this psycho sicko took his AR-15 to Kenosha with the hope that he could find some smoke and prove that he's got the right stuff. I'm going to prove that I'm a man. I'm going to prove that I pull that trigger, right? That's what I think. That's what I think. I wouldn't be surprised if that's true. I wouldn't be surprised if that's true. Brian writes, they dropped the gun charge first, which then frees them up to make not guilty on the rest. They all have to justify and rationalize his ruling that, once again, your mind knows is outrageous. Is it outrageous, though? I saw the video. And in the video, it appeared that there were people that were trying to chase him down. Now, people said, well, before that, he was pointing a gun at them, and then that's why they started chasing him. But does that really matter when we talk about self-defense? Does that really matter? Does that really matter? If you live in Hamilton County, your Hamilton County prosecutor said in response to Kyle Rittenhouse that if the Kyle Rittenhouse case took place in Hamilton County, there would have been no charges. There would have been no charges, what he said. And we know it's true. And we know it's true. WCPO 2 days ago, Rittenhouse would never have been charged if shooting happened in Hamilton County. Now, why does the Hamilton County prosecutor feel the need to say that? Now, we already know. Drop, if you're trying to call in, if anybody's trying to call in, please hold on for a second. I've already got Kev on the cell coming up next. And then I know TNT tried to call in. I want to get everybody in, but let me set the table first with a few flows. Then we'll take Kev on the cell first, and then we'll get everybody else in. So I just want to let you know. Why is the Hamilton County prosecutor talking about this? And just because the media wants to do an interview with him don't mean he have to answer no damn questions. Hamilton County prosecutor Joe Dieter said that he never would have been charged if the shooting happened in his area, and he knows that. We all know that to be true. Quote, the prosecutor is either spineless or an idiot. It's embarrassing. The prosecutors around the country know the law, know how it should have been even-handed. No matter who is being shot, who shoots, that's not the issue. What color they are, if they're gay, it doesn't matter. Huh? Dieter said it is clear Rittenhouse acted to protect himself, something attorney Carl Lewis agrees with. And apparently Carl Lewis is a black man who they spoke with here locally. Quote, I think he responded to what he thought was a threat. You have the right to bear arms. That quote is attributed to Carl Lewis, who I believe is a black lawyer here in the Cincinnati area. I believe. I could be wrong about that. If I'm wrong, set me straight. Lewis said that the Rittenhouse trial came down to reasonable doubt. Quote, I'm shocked and not shocked. Surprised he wasn't convicted of a lesser, not shocked from a lawyer's perspective because it's proof beyond a reasonable doubt. That case was filled with reasonable doubt. And I'm no lawyer, but I would agree as well. I remember watching the video when it first happened. And it appeared to me that some cats was trying to run down on him. And what happened before that matters and it don't matter. Right? It matters and it don't matter. They're trying to run down on him. So he opens on fire on him. Should Kyle Rittenhouse have been there? No, he should not have been there. He should not have been there at all. He shouldn't have been there at all. All he did was kill two people. He didn't save anybody. He didn't stop anything. He didn't stop any looting. All he did was kill two people. That's it. You said he went there to help out. Who called you? We don't need you to help out. He never should have been there. But once he got there, even with his AR-15 at 17 years old, he had a right to protect himself. So what's everybody tripping about? Oh, I know. It's the what if he was black question. Oh, that's right. Because if he was black, his goose would have been cooked. We already know that. With that jury makeup, they'd have cooked his goose. I have no doubt. I feel very confidently that if Kyle Rittenhouse were black, that if Kyle Rittenhouse was black, then he could have got a different outcome that came with some penalties. I don't doubt that at all because race matters. Him being white mattered to the majority white jury. It mattered to the judge. That's just my opinion about it. And I think that even on some cases, it matters to Hamilton County Prosecutor Joe Dieters. If this happened in Hamilton County, he would have never been charged at all. That's a very dangerous thing to say. And Joe Dieters has a history of saying dangerous things that basically promotes vigilante violence. There was a case of happened to be a white dude, and he was speeding down a street in Avondale, and he struck a child. And some of the boy's father and some of his friends and people in the neighborhood caught up with the man, and they whooped his ass, I think. I think they dragged him out the car and beat his ass. I don't think they killed him. Joe Dieters came and said, basically, that if he was in that situation in Avondale, that he would have kept on going, that he would have struck a child, and to protect his own self, he would have kept on driving. And he said, drive himself to the hospital or the police. That's against the law, isn't it? I thought that when you're a part of an automobile accident or you hit somebody, that legally you're supposed to stop. I thought, but maybe it's different when it's Avondale. Maybe it's different when it's black kids. And now in this case, you got Joe Dieters saying, basically sending a message to all would-be vigilantes that you can get away with it. Joe Dieters is saying you can get away with it. Got your weapon on you and somebody comes at you, maybe they don't have a weapon. Go ahead and shoot them. I won't charge you. Now, we know this is the same Hamilton County prosecutor who did not charge a man who ran into the middle of the street. This is a real case. It happened like 7-8 years ago. Man had his car idling in the driveway of his car. Cold day, much like today. So his car is on and he's warming it up. Authorities say you shouldn't do this. Young black boy jumps into his car and tries to steal it, but he drives the wrong way down a cul-de-sac, which is a dead end. So he drives down the wrong end of the cul-de-sac because he's unfamiliar with everything. Probably thought he could get out that way. And when he drives back past the house of the car he stole the house from, or from where he stole the car from, the home from where he stole the car from. Pardon me. That's Kev on the cell. I got you, Kev. Let me set this up, man. Let me set this up. When he drives back past the house, the owner of the car had ran into the middle of the street and was in the middle of the street like this, shot through the window and killed the boy. Joe Dieter said no charge is self-defense. Now, how in the Mickey Ficky is that self-defense when you ran out into the middle of the street? So if that's self-defense, that means if I got my weapon on me and I happen to be cutting across the street, across the street, and I see a car barreling down on me and it don't look like they're going to stop, I can just shoot them and kill them because it looks like they're not going to stop and I'm in the middle of the street. Even though I'm walking in the middle of the street, makes no sense whatsoever. This is Joe Dieters. This is Joe Dieters. So I ain't surprised to hear him say this. I believe every word. And you just had that case of the sister who knocked on the other sister's door, right, and got shot. I don't think she had a weapon. I think, as the story goes, they had some kind of beef or something going on. It was like at a kids' football game or some kind of athletic game earlier in the day. For whatever reason, this sister's still in her feelings about it. She goes to another woman's house, knocks on the door, and then when she knocks on the door, as the story goes, she lunges at her. Not with a weapon, just lunges at her. The woman shoots and kills her. No charges, Joe Dieters. What the hell? These all might be justified. These all might be justified, but I'm just saying. Joe Biden put out a statement saying, quote, "The verdict will leave many Americans feeling angry and concerned, myself included, but I stand by what the jury has concluded." The family of Anthony Huber, which is a man that Kyle Rittenhouse killed in a shooting, released a statement. They said they were heartbroken and angry that he was not found guilty or found not guilty. And, quote, "It sends the unacceptable message that armed civilians can show up in any town, incite violence, and then use the danger they have created to justify shooting people in the street." Damn, that's a mouthful. They said some shit right there. That is a true statement. That's exactly the message that it sends. And you know, black people ain't doing no shit like that. Black people ain't traveling across state lines and from different towns with no damn weapons trying to shoot nobody, because we know better. We know how that ends. Let me see if I can put the statement of the family up on the screen here. This is a 100% on point statement in my opinion. 100% on point. 100% on point. This is the family of one of the victims. This is exactly the message that it sends. And this is exactly the message that Hamilton County prosecutor is sending. Look at this right here. It sends the unacceptable message that armed civilians can show up in any town, incite violence, and then use the danger that they have created to justify shooting people in the street. This sounds like what? Trayvon Martin all over again. That's exactly what happened. Young boy walking back to watch the NBA All-Star game. You got a psycho sicko, George Zimmerman, who starts surveilling him, unbeknownst to this young boy. Confronts this boy even after the 911 operator, or maybe the non-emergency operator, I can't remember what he called, told him, we all heard it, leave that person alone. Mind your own damn business. But oh no, George Zimmerman had a gun. He was feeling courageous. And what did he do? He confronted this young boy, instigated it, incited violence. And then when you're starting to get overpowered because you're a weakling, then you want to use lethal force, talking about self-defense. Wait a minute. We got to close these loopholes. You should not be able to incite the violence and then use the danger that you create to justify shooting people. That's the reason why I don't trust these mofos in Ohio with these stand your ground laws. I don't trust you. And I'm gonna be honest with you. It's probably gonna be a white man, keep it 100, that we'll be talking about real soon, just killed somebody in Ohio, talking about stand your ground. Because it be the Karens and Darrens that can't mind their own damn business. Kyle Rittenhouse, I blame his mama. Dropped this boy off. What I look like dropping what black parent drops their kid off? Drops off a 17-year-old with an AR-15 to go to a protest. That's some white people shit. All day, every day is white people-ish. Ain't nobody black doing that. Nobody black is doing that. That's some white people shit. All day, every day. Here you go, son. You got everything? Well, make sure you got your snacks. You got enough bullets? And drop your kid off at the scene of a protest? And all those protests that were happening last year, that's good parenting? What is wrong with the white family? I keep asking this question. But mainstream media is not interested in really getting to the bottom of this. It's just, they rather ask what's wrong with the black family, but nobody is asking what is up with the white family. What is wrong with y'all? This is good parenting? And then want to turn this guy into some kind of like figure to be revered or to feel sympathy for. Keep your ass at home. Keep your ass at home. That's all you have to do. Just stay at home. Let's go to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Nate.
Good morning, Ken.
Day in the neighborhood. How's it going, man?
I'm doing well. Welcome.
My son, Piper, man. So, and I don't have a law degree. I do have a master's in public administration, though. And so policy is kind of what that's all about, right? First off, sticking with my normal theme, get the bag, right? Because if you have the bag, like Kyle obviously does, or someone who is supporting him, you get the attorneys that can find those loopholes that can get you out of this kind of trouble. From a legal standpoint, and by the way, Carl Lewis is an attorney. He's a pretty well-known attorney here in Cincinnati because he's had a number of really impactful cases, generally dealing with folks in our community, and he's strong, so he wins. And he wins in situations where folks who either got the bag or got lucky were represented by him. You know, part of the issue that we have, and you said it really astutely, man, is that we're not looking at things from a legal perspective, right? We're looking at these things based on, you know, quote unquote right and wrong or whatever. But if you start actually looking at the law itself and how the law is being applied, then he absolutely could be considered to be, protecting himself. The situation before he's protecting himself isn't necessarily part of the case, right? Just because he injected himself into that situation doesn't mean that he's not faced with some potential harm, and he doesn't have the right to defend himself. It'd be kind of like if you was out watching a fight and you get hit, and then the person that's fighting basically starts fighting you. So now because I was watching the fight and I got hit, I just got to stand there and get beat. Nah, that's not real. So I think we need to be mindful that if we, and we being the African community throughout the diaspora, get to the point where we have the finances and resources in order to support and defend ourselves, we'd have the same protection. One thing's for sure, though, that whole thing about we have a right to stand our ground and things that's absolutely not true. Because in many instances, people who have have CCWs and everything else are getting shot in cars. Folks getting stepped on their neck until they die. A lot of times we don't have the right even to protect ourselves when we should have the right to protect ourselves. But a lot of that is because of our financial position, man. So, I agree with you that we need to start looking at things, from a legalistic perspective and have some understanding of that. And then also from a finance perspective. I keep telling folks, man, there's certain things that they could do back in the day they can't do to you today. You know what I'm saying? They can't redline you. If you know what a red line is and they tell you can't get a mortgage and your credit score is right and your money is right, that's a lawsuit all day, every day, period. So that stuff about they don't give loans to black folks, that's not true. If you're credit worthy, they got to give you a loan. They don't have a choice. We literally need to turn our focus to getting the bag because we're not going to get fairness. We are not going to get equity. We're not going to get equality until we get our finances up, our wealth up, and then we'll be able to fight in those same in the same types of proceedings that our white counterparts are fighting. We'll be easily able to manage those situations because you'll have people on your team that are like, "Nah, I'm gonna find the precedent, and when I find the precedent, we're gonna overturn whatever it is they were intending to do to me." Period. I don't like the outcome. I do think there's two things bad in this situation. One is what you just said about them being able to basically, anybody being able to go in and be a vigilante. But anybody can't be a vigilante because if a young black man is walking down that street with a gun past police officers, he's not walking wrong. And it's more than likely that he's not going to walk at all again, ever again. That's just, that just wouldn't. I can't put it happening. It'd be great if it could happen, but not in the current environment. That ain't happening. And it's more than likely he's not getting arrested. Definitely ain't going to get no McDonald's or Burger King or whatever it is. Oh boy, they took him to go get. And, we can change all of this, though. We have to change our focus, start talking about familial wealth and building ourselves up and stop falling for the
case has nothing to
do. We're going to get y'all in y'all feelings so we can take you off your paper or get you to work out here for $1 an hour or whatever it is they make down at the justice. Well, they don't do it at the Justice Center, but in the prison system. That's all I got, bro.
That's all I need, man.
That's all I got.
Thank you for the call.
Be blessed, man.
Be blessed. Take it easy. Free, that's Kev on the cell. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Nathan Ivey. This is Fanon Rucker. How you doing,
Hey,
man?
what's up, Fanon? Good morning to you.
Good. So look, man, I got a text, and so I've been listening here for about the past few minutes, talking about Kyle Rittenhouse and kind of the impact of this stand your ground issues. I also want to interject Ahmaud Arbery and the potential and the fear of an outcome in that case. So with Kyle Rittenhouse, and I heard the previous caller saying, as long as we have the financial wherewithal to hire lawyers that are going to make the right arguments, then we can get there. That's generally the perspective, and certainly a long history of public defenders and people being critical of their lack of diligence on cases. But I can say in Hamilton County in the past few years, they've been very focused on hiring folks in the PD's office and really requiring them to actually fight hard for their clients. And they've been getting great outcomes on cases, on technicalities, legal issues, but also on facts. You mentioned about stand your ground and how ridiculous it is that someone can start an altercation that then in the middle of it be losing and then be able to use deadly force to protect themselves. that is exactly the greatest criticism that all of us have about stand your ground. The second criticism is who decides whether or not that can be used as a defense? Well, the prosecutor does. The prosecutor decides if in the beginning that was in fact eligible for that legal strategy. And in fact, that's what we saw in Florida with the sister who shot up in the air after her husband, who had been beating her for years, was approaching her. She shot in the air. They didn't decide that she could use stand your ground, but they did decide that George Zimmerman could. I mean, so it's a discretionary piece that is a problem. Because of a new law in Ohio, if it looks like it's self-defense, it's the state's burden in the beginning to prove that it was not self-defense. A lot of changes happening in the law, and I don't know that it's all about how much money you have, whether or not someone is going to be able to get off. But I can say that the same legal protections for everybody are the same legal protections for everybody. It's just up to folks to argue them. I know that sounds Pollyannish and optimistic, but that's the legal truth about it.
Were you surprised that Kyle Rittenhouse was acquitted on all charges?
Nope, not at all. And here's, I know people have angst about it, and especially when we say if he had been black, if he had been a black 17-year-old, he would have been found guilty. Honestly, I disagree. I actually believe that if he had been a black 17-year-old under the circumstance, he would have been killed on the scene, as we saw what happened in Cleveland with Tamir Rice, as we saw in so many other instances. I don't think he would have made it to trial. That's my belief about it. So I don't think he would have been found not guilty or guilty. I think he would have never made it to trial. But I provide commentary on a court network, and so I was able to watch a lot of the trial. And I think that these were each legitimate self-defense instances, or at least there's the argument that a jury could decide was self-defense, even though he had no business being there. And that's my position. You mentioned it earlier. Mother dropped him off with an AR, not necessarily the 100% facts, but he was there with an AR outside his state, talking about protecting property with a gun that he had no business having with no training. That's a not needing to be there. Recognizing all of that, the fact that he shouldn't have been there and had a gun that he shouldn't have doesn't eliminate his absolute right of self-defense in any instance. Give you an example. We know a lot of folks who we have relationships with who have felonies because of our system doing what it does. And we also know that in Ohio, if you have a felony, you are not allowed to carry a firearm. But we know folks that do anyway, even though they have felonies. So let's say that somebody is carrying a weapon illegally because they have a felony, drug charge from 10 years ago, prohibits them from carrying a gun. And they're standing outside of a store with some friends talking, not doing anything wrong. Somebody comes up, pulls a gun to that person's head, trying to rob them. They pull out their illegally held weapon and shoot and kill the person who had a gun to their head. Are they legally entitled to self-defense? Absolutely. So they should be and would be acquitted on the self-defense, on the murder charge or on the voluntary manslaughter charge. But what in all likelihood would have happened in that instance is they would get convicted of having a weapon under disability and get 3 to 5 years for having that weapon improperly. And that's the inequity in what we see in this case. Yeah, I think he should have gotten off on self-defense. I think that each of those instances presents a viable argument for self-defense. But what also is troubling and the problem for me is the fact that what all of us saw was a 17-year-old with a weapon that should not have been in his hands. He was able to be acquitted on that charge, which could have and should have sent him to jail for some period of time, giving some amount of equity on this case. But am I surprised he was found not guilty of the murders? No, not at all.
So is this a voter thing? Is this we need to change the policy and the laws of the state? Is that what we do?
Yes, maybe. It's several components to it. The first and the clearest, in my opinion, at least in Ohio, is that folks ought to be registered so they can serve on juries. The thing we love to do around our tables, around our barbershops, and just in our circles is talk about these high-profile cases and what we say should be the outcome. But the only way that we can actually participate to have a say in the outcome is where we're sitting on the jury actually making the decisions. So that's the first step. The second step, as far as a voter piece, yeah, who we elect judges is important. Yeah, who we elect prosecutor is incredibly important. Yeah, who we elect governor to appoint the judges and the president is incredibly important. So it's always important to participate. But as you said, the policies and the laws that get written are the things that the governor, the judges, the prosecutor enforce. And so what kind of things are the people who are being elected to write the laws talking about? Where's their positions? And can we be in a state where the majority of folks who are writing the laws are writing them that are consistent with the needs and the interests of the community? If not, we need to move, or we need to try to change the atmosphere so that those who are elected are actually writing laws for people in the community. Now, what we know is that people write laws that are consistent with their constituencies. And if we're in the minority, we're not part of that constituency, then most likely we're not going to reap the benefit of those who are in those decision-making positions. And that's why I said move somewhere where it's more consistent with what we believe and what our interests are. But yes, I mean, it's a change in laws, a change in policies that will actually say people will be held accountable in these circumstances. Like I said, we just changed the law in Ohio last year, 2 years ago, where now it's the burden of the state in the beginning to prove that it's not self-defense in instances that are clear self-defense. That's a 200-year change in the history of our jurisprudence and our laws. It used to be the burden of the defendant by preponderance of the evidence to prove that. Now it's the burden of the state. That's a change in law that was pretty significant, and it went along with the stand your ground version of Ohio's law that says you can pull out your weapon under any circumstance outside of your house as long as you're legally in a place to be there if you are feeling a threat to your life or to your safety. It's a tough call, but the problem, at least for me, was not in the fact that stand your ground was being passed across the country. The problem for me is in the discretion of who exercises whether or not stand your ground becomes available as defense. That's the problem for me, and that should really be what people are looking at when they look at these cases. The black letter law is the black letter law. So now we have to get people in positions who apply that black letter law to everybody, regardless of their socioeconomic status, race, what neighborhoods they live in, or whatever else. And that's about the prosecutor.
You said you had something to say about Ahmaud Arbery?
Yeah. So that's another one that I've been providing commentary on. We'll be talking today about the closing arguments. And honestly, that one scares me. It scares me not just for the potential for the verdict. It scares me for the stuff that the lawyers were saying. I say the shit the lawyers were saying. And then to get offended when people responded to the stuff they were saying. It scares me if you heard the dude who actually shot Ahmaud Arbery and his inexplicable, well, I mean, it's explainable, but his inexplicable belief that he has the authority to look at somebody who's also grown and tell them to do or not do something, and then be amazed when they fail to do it. You know, that incredible privileged argument. It was scary listening to that. I'm afraid that because that is a jury of peers for that community in Georgia, and in fact, many people thrown off the jury because they knew either families or they knew the circumstances too well. I'm just afraid that they're going to sympathize in some way. I don't take this one to sympathize with McMichael's position that he was in fear of his safety for a situation that he created once again, and that he had to shoot him. Now, I think where he may have a problem is that he cocked that shotgun 3 times, which does not evince, I was just shooting him to get away from me. I mean, 3 times with a shotgun is not accidental. But I'm afraid of a not guilty, or more realistically, I'm afraid of a hung verdict. The jury's hung. They're not able to reach a verdict because 1 holdout or 2 holdouts or 5 holdouts, whatever else. And what that will do to our, what that will do, or what that will mean, and how that will appear, and what that. I'm just afraid of that. I'm afraid of that one, and it's a whole lot of aspects of it that really just trouble my spirit. So it's definitely one that people need to watch closely.
I appreciate your call this morning. It's very, very enlightening, educational, informative. But somebody wants to know, and I'm curious as well, where are you doing the commentary? Like what channel, what time, so we can all tap in and watch?
So it's called the Law and Crime Trial Network. It is the creation of Dan Abrams, who does Good Morning America legal commentary.
Yeah,
it streams on about 30 streaming networks: Hulu, Silo, Peacock. It's a YouTube channel. You can subscribe to it. Usually can catch it on one of those. So it's a cable news, court news channel. And I'll be on today from 10 to noon. I'm usually on there a couple of days a week on different people's shows, providing legal commentary and expertise about these cases. And we watch the trials, and then we go and we talk with the host about what has happened and the significance of it and what this means and those kind of things. But it's on the Law and Crime Trial Network. Folks can Google it and find it on any number of streaming platforms.
Yeah, well, I'm hip to
it. And YouTube.
I'm hip to it, and I'll definitely want to check that out and check you out as well.
Appreciate that.
Let me see here if there's any questions here. No, I really appreciate the phone call this morning, Fanon. Anything else? Any comments about the prosecutor? I'm not sure if you want to go there with him, but Joe Dieter said.
Oh, you mean our current one?
The current
who went on the news talking about the prosecutor was either a coward or an idiot.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'll just say this. It's amazing when you stick a microphone in front of some people's faces, how they just want to roll and not conscious, or maybe they are conscious about the impact of their statements and the criticism that those statements will most certainly and should have in reflecting on other cases that person has had, prosecuted, not prosecuted, and for what reasons. I just shake my head. I mean, but you know what? The voters made their decision. So I'm going about addressing these same issues in different ways than actually being the prosecutor. And so that's about all I'll say about our current county prosecutor.
All right. Well, Fanon, thank you for your time this morning, and we'll be tapping in today.
Oh, good. Blessings, please.
Yeah, most definitely. Appreciate that. And he said he got a text. Whoever sent him a text, I appreciate you. Yeah, I can't think of anybody better to give us some thoughts on this case, and also Joe Dieters. And the reason why Joe Dieters talks so slick and greasy, to use Fame's term or phrase, is because local media is straight punked out of Joe Dieters. Local media, legacy media, all these talk show hosts, all of them, the white ones and the black ones, are scared to death of Joe Dieters. They are terrified of him. They terrified. They check their tongue when they talk about Joe Dieters. They only go so far when they do about Joe Dieters. And that's the reason why Joe Dieters can say the dumbest shit ever, is because he ain't going to get no pushback. He ain't going to get no pushback. And they ain't going to push back. Most of these cats is so starstruck to have them on the show. We got Joe Dieters on the show. I don't give a damn about Joe Dieters being on my show. So what? Oh, we don't want to mess up our relationship with Joe Dieters. He may not come on and talk to us. Who cares? So local media is completely punked out when it comes to Joe Dieters. And how do you know? Because if they had any real stones in local media, they would have more harshly, critically critiqued his performance during that Sam DuBose Ray Tensing trial. He was absolutely horrible, and got the nerve to talk about somebody's either an idiot or a coward. Bro, did you not see the performance that you and your prosecution team put on? It was subpar on every level. But local media, what I'm saying right now, they won't dare to say that. Or maybe some now are checking out the flow. They're like, Nate got heart. I'm going to show I got heart and say the same thing. Most of these cats in the city is scared to death to say that. Scared. I don't know what they're scared of. Scared to death. To just critically break down what the man is. Does this make sense? Comparing what he's saying to what he's done. Does it make any sense? Is it consistent? This is the same man that locked up this brother because he said F the coronavirus for 10 days on the count on our dime. And it's probably going to cost us a big wad of cash. Because he got a lawsuit right now against the county. It's the same dude. It's the same dude that failed to prosecute a woman because I forgot my baby in the car. I just worked so hard. I'm a professional. Let your black ass do that and see what happened. Your ass is going to jail. If you leave your kid in a car for 20 minutes and walk into Walmart, your ass going to jail. You're going to have to take all kind of classes and pay all kind of money just to get your kid back. But meanwhile, and I don't know if it's a straight white thing, but you had this woman who happened to be white. She left her kid in the car all day. Baby dies. No charges. Oh, she's been through enough. Uh-huh. So again, I'll say it again. I don't know what justice is under Joe Dieters. I have no idea. I don't know what child endangerment is. I don't know anything anymore. To me, he just makes it up as he goes along per his feelings on the case. He just kind of makes it up. He can makes it up. You got sheriff deputies that's stomping out mofos, is all the way under custody, no charges. No charges whatsoever. Oh, no, man. I'll say it again. Across the board, I think Hamilton County could do a lot better than what we have right now, but Hamilton County has spoken. He's spoken many times over many election cycles, and they keep choosing Joe Dieters. And that's because Hamilton Countyans are very susceptible to fear-mongering. Hamilton County voters remain very susceptible to the idea that they need Zaddy to be the Lone Ranger of Hamilton County and lock up the dark hordes that might want to steal from you and all this kind of stuff. Like, people really fall for that. That's what happened with Fanon Rucker. White female Democrats fell for the fear-mongering. Well, I don't know. He might open the doors of our cul-de-sac and allow them to take all of our trinkets. You know, fear-mongering remains to be a very, very good button to press when you're dealing with voters. And that's the reason why you had David Mann trying to do that with Abtab Purival, but his game wasn't strong enough. David Mann lost the election when he walked out on the people that day. It was a wrap. I'm amazed he even ran for mayor after that. Like, dude, you need some people around you to pull you to the side and tell you the truth, bro. You ain't got a shot. Ain't nobody rolling with you after we seen you do that weak ass shit. Who voting for you? Why would I do that? And you can't even articulate to me why you did it in a way that makes any damn sense. So that's what I think. But he said the jury scares me. He's right about that. Again, I've read up more on the Ahmaud Arbery case than I have Kyle Rittenhouse. And in particular, of course, we talked about this on Friday, that testimony from this man who took the witness stand talking about, I told him to do this and that. Who the hell do you think you are to just stop random people with a shotgun and force them to do it? You've been watching too many old Westerns. You've been watching too many movies, bro. Who in the do you think you are? Shit, where they do that at? Your authority. So I don't know. That was his thoughts on. He said that he's afraid of a hung jury primarily, but a jury to be very sympathetic to these perpetrators. And I think they should put their ass under the jail for the rest of their natural life. But let's go back to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Hey, good morning, Nate.
Hey, what up, Brian? Good morning to you, brother.
Not bad. Recently, I wasn't going to say this, but I wanted to start by saying that there was a mistrial in the case of Henry Green recently in Columbus, where that family was fighting against how they killed, their young son, and preponderance of evidence. It's a shame that we have to see it, which it was, as a partial victory, that they weren't able to just out and out say that the cop was innocent. You had most of the jury who supported and believed that this cop should be in jail. And then the quote unquote instructions from the judge, which, if you think about it, like the idea that you hear a whole case, you're supposed to be able to make up your own mind. And then you get additional instructions, which are basically designed to
not let you focus on what you just saw and heard, but to narrow the argument to make it the easiest possible to get the cop off. That's what happens in case after case after case, where, you know, you hear all this information, you're like, now just keep in mind, you're not ruling on whether it was, you know, this or this or this. You're ruling specifically on this thing. Are you 100% sure about this thing? To me, that's a problem. But there was a time where I feel like our suspicion has softened. Let me put it like that. The further integration of Black people across class strata in this country has resulted in a layer of us who genuinely believe that on some level the law works objectively, or objectively enough that we should accept it. And that's part of that's what we have to break with. I don't feel like we discuss enough the history that has led. You do on this show to some degree, but as a people, this question that it's not an individual law. Like if we hone in and zoom in so much on an individual trial or just an individual law, we miss the totality of these cases where that revealed institutional racism. When you look at the sum total of cases like this, where, you know, a white person takes an offensive against somebody, which Kyle Rittenhouse did, flashed his gun at multiple people who testified, clearly was acting as an aggressor. He was not some medic that was helping people. You could tell he was lying when they tried. Well, who did you help? Well, I wrapped gauze on this one woman, blah, blah, blah. So the point is that we live in a society where we're not equal. And I think it's hard for people to accept that. Like Kev, who, you know, I don't tend to disagree, or, you know, Kev's flows I tend to think are, you know, I got no issue with. But this idea that you have to be rich to get justice, okay, that's true, unfortunately, in society. But to grab onto that and advocate that like the only way we're going to get justice is if we get our bank up. Well, what does that say about this society? And shouldn't we be fighting against that? Shouldn't we be fighting to demand that it doesn't matter how much money you have, doesn't matter what neighborhood you come from, but instead we accept the conditions of exploitation and oppression and try to find a way to get our hustle on within it. I'm not criticizing it on that level. People got to figure out how they're going to survive in this society. I get that. Some people say they're going to figure out how to survive by, you know, sidestepping racism, sidestepping these things and finding a way around it because they don't believe that it can be changed. They don't believe that there's any possibility for actual liberation and for the mechanisms around us to not be racist. Well, I've seen examples of that, of institutional racism being crushed with my own eyes. We are capable of doing it, but we can't do it and simultaneously have illusions that what we have now works. It doesn't work. Or you could have said it the other way. It works exactly like it's supposed to be. It's not broken. It started this way. The only rights that we have as a people come directly out of us demanding them in a society that has laws that were never made for us, never made to defend us or protect us. That's the starting point. Even if you say, okay, well, that's all well and good, Brian, but I got a family and I got this situation and I can't fight around it. I can't be trying to buck the system on that kind of level. Okay, fine. But let's start from the mentality of admitting that what I'm saying is true. These things are true. The law does not work for us. The law was never made for us. The law was made for rich landowners, and only through brutal, bloody fights through history have we been able to alter that at all. And so I'll just say one or two more short things, and then, give other people a chance to respond and for your flows to continue. The man in the Aubrey case is a snapshot of white supremacy. And if you take these two cases together, it really shows what America is. It's a snapshot of America where you have a whole layer. I don't think it's a majority layer. I don't think most white people think in this extreme. But for this person to think that they can just posse up and shoot down a black person, I agree, after 100%, this would not have happened if this dude was white. If Aubrey was white, looking at a construction site or whatever, this would not have happened. But the idea that this person not only did that, but saw no need to alter that mentality on the stand. Well, I totally. We still have a nascent slave catcher society and a slave catcher mentality among enough people, together with an institution that basically capes for slave catching. That's what we live in. And the last thing I'll just say is, if you remember back to the Minneapolis black cop who was in the alleyway, the woman comes out who's like this, he's a black cop. I don't support him. I actually support the woman who he shot. But the thing is you get a black cop, he's out at night, there's some kind of ruckus or whatever, and this woman who ends up being this lily white yoga teacher or whatever, gets shot and killed. Well, by any other metric, if that was reversed, the cop would have gotten off. But in this particular case, and again, I must say, I support the woman who was killed in that situation because she didn't deserve to be shot by this cop, just like we don't. But in that case, all of the logic flipped and the cop was found guilty. Now, what is the element in that changed? The only thing that changed was the racial makeup of the characters involved. So just, we're comparing the Aubrey with the Rittenhouse, but let's compare the Aubrey and the Rittenhouse with this case in Minneapolis, and you start to see what is the common denominator is you can't be black and be armed, and if you're white, you tend to be seen more as the innocent party or the responsible party or the party that's justified. That's what happens. And then the final thing I'll say is the aggressor, when they're non-black, especially when they're white, the aggressor has the right in this society to then defend themselves against the person they caused the aggression against. And the story always starts from the response, not the initial aggression. Think about Israel. Israel is sitting on Palestinian land and brutalizing people every day. Why do we only hear about when some people who are standing up for their land clap back? And the clap backers are treated like they're the aggressors. Like, nah, mofo, you took my whole house. So I'll just end on that, Nate. I appreciate the time to say a few things, and I'll just be listening.
Hey, good morning, Nathan. It's Nicole. How you doing? First of all, I got to say how great it is to hear so many brothers this morning just put it out there. I mean, the flows have been excellent. Really just took all my thunder. I almost don't even know what to say because all of them was on point. And you know, my brother from another mother, Brian Taylor, always killing it, always on point. But what I want to say is that with the Cal Rittenhouse case, you know, when we first heard the verdict, in my heart, I just felt like on one of the counts, at least to get to be found not guilty on anything. I mean, it was just like a total drop to my heart. Like that just didn't make any sense. And I immediately, you know, went on Twitter. You know, I had a little picture, you know, that basically said white privilege only in America. And it got like so many hits and likes and everything else on certain, circles. But I was called, of course, you know, you put yourself out there and then here comes all the hate and everything in the world. I was literally told to go back to Africa. You know, I was like, everything possibly mean and cruel a person can say. And even had a brother sit up here and tell me like, but the people that was killed was white and not understand what was meant by that. And, you know, just like the point that's been made, you know, imagine if Cal Rittenhouse was black. That boy went in there with an AK-15. If that was a black person in an open carry state, he would be shot dead. And we know that because that happened to John Crawford III, Tamir Rice, in an open carry state with a legal pellet gun. You know, we're not given that same latitude. And had the police officers simply done their job, you know, 2 people wouldn't be dead and 1 disabled probably for the rest of his life. That probably wouldn't have happened. But see, instead that boy got a data boy and a bottle of water, you know, and there was a curfew and everything else. It's just like all the things that led up to the tragedy could have been prevented. But that just shows you the mentality of white privilege, white supremacy that was allow this boy to come in, curfew, and the police just look at him and just, you go right ahead. Thank you for being a good citizen type crap. But if he was African American, Hispanic, Asian, any person of color, Muslim, try that. He would be dead. But be that as it may, getting back to the conversation of the law, because you know I've heard my brother, good brother, Honorable Sanaa Rucker say, you know, it comes down to the law. But just because it's law doesn't mean it's good law. And in a lot of respects, even in that case, there was opportunities there. The judge would not allow for the drone video to be zoomed in so people could see more clearly that Cal Rittenhouse had pulled his gun. There was testimony in the trial where, you know, there was a black man on top of a car and Cal Rittenhouse allegedly pointed his gun at him. And in a Facebook Live video or whatever, they have it recorded where the boy confronts Cal Rittenhouse and says, "Hey, you pointed your gun at me." And he just kind of smirks it off like, "Oh, yeah, I did." And it's just like no consideration. So, you know, the prosecution kind of tried to use that like that was an admission that he was pointing the gun. You was being an aggressor. So according to the law, also, if you are, you know, the aggressor, you're pointing the gun, the self-defense goes out the window. But just the way everything was shaped up, it was clearly biased. And even if he was found guilty, just the way that judge was, you know, zealously in favor of the defense, he threatened many, many, many times that he would cause a mistrial or acquittal with prejudice, which is similar to what Judge Leslie Gibbs did in the Ray Tinson case, where he was acquitted and then she did it with prejudice. So that means it can never be tried again. He can never be tried for the murder of Sam Bowes ever. It's over. And so to me, it was just like, it was all set. It's the jury of his peers. And when the jury forewoman came up there and started talking, I should have just known, you know, and the way they sliced up, you know, they can do it in, and I didn't even know that he was hand selecting or going by names like that. I've never heard that in my life, being able to pick your jury. It's just an unfortunate situation. But even with the respects of the people that were killed, and they were white, clearly there was no empathy for those individuals, mainly because they had the audacity to be out there, you know, in support of Black Lives Matter, in support of Jacob Blake. And because these white people had the audacity to have humanity, you know, you weren't victims, you were actually rioters, looters, and everything else. We call that. And it's no different from back in the day when you had the audacious white people who had the courage to help people, African Americans who were enslaved, get to freedom on the Underground Railroad, teach them to read and everything else. And if they were caught, they were ostracized or they would die. They were lynched. You know, it was many white people that sacrificed everything to help Black people reach freedom, to live better lives and everything else. Just on the mere fact that they dare to have humanity. And, you know, this situation here is no different, but the law. Apparently, and I was just looking in the Ohio Revised Code, there is nothing in the law about vigilantism, which the definition of vigilantism is a member of a self-appointed group of citizens who undertake law enforcement in their community without legal authority, typically because the legal agencies are thought to be inadequate. Fanon said something that was very important, that the law had changed from the burden being on the state instead of the defense. And that needs to be reversed back. That's one thing. And then there needs to be a law that speaks clearly to vigilantism. Otherwise, we have a real problem, because what we're dealing with is public safety. And these gun laws and the way they're being manufactured, and just the way the laws are being manipulated. And really it goes with everything, even beyond staying your ground and self-defense, because the law is not applied to everyone the same. We see that with Marissa Alexander, who was in Florida, had the same situation, and she wasn't given the same privilege with staying your ground. She had to serve time. It took civil rights, you know, activists and different ones to get her out of jail. You know, when her situation was definitely in a domestic violence case, trying to keep her husband from attacking her, and she didn't even shoot at him. She just shot up in the air. She still went to jail. She still went to prison. It's just like what Brian was saying, like, you know, you can have laws, but the way it's manipulated, interpreted, and who it applies to, you know, at the end of the day, if they're looking at us and we're always the bad guy, we're always evil, we're always deceptive, we can't be believed, we can't be given the benefit of the doubt, then, you know, you have a system that is not made and is unequal, inadequate, and it should not even be obeyed to a degree. Like if it continues to this degree, your laws don't protect me, so how is it that you feel like you can condemn me with your laws when it doesn't apply the same? It has to be a fair balance. We can't continue to say, well, that's just the way it is, and that's just the law, and everything else. People have to fight, and things have to be applied equally. And if it's not, this government, this system will not work. And we just got to do better. But it's just a lot to think about, a lot of work to do. But it's tiresome, and it's really disappointing to a degree, because this put a lot of people's lives in danger. You want to march, you want to speak out, and if these armed militia groups can just come out, start pointing guns, have an altercation, and just start shooting people, and then just claim self-defense at the end of the day and win, God help us. That's all I got to say.
Oh, sorry about that. I'm just talking and shit. I'm just talking. Sorry. You don't send me no messages. I got it. Yeah, here comes the messages. I appreciate you. You can always tell people care, man, when they tell you when you're not looking right. I appreciate you. But I appreciate all the calls this morning. I really appreciate your interest in checking out the show. I mean, you could be anywhere in the World Wide Web, but you chose to be here with us for a little bit. All the calls this morning in different perspectives. I appreciate it. Let's take it all in and push it forward. You know, my thing is, as we look at these cases around the country, what does that mean for us here in Hamilton County? What does that mean for Cincinnati? You know what I'm saying? What needs to be put in place here in Cincinnati? Yeah, thank you, Mike. Appreciate it, David, Marsha, T, appreciate it. Rack TNT, absolutely, for sure. Kathy writes, are we tired yet? I am. It's time to take action. Our vote, our dollars have great power. That is the only thing they respect. I did want to say a few things about that. You know, when I look at I've yet to do this, but I'm going to go back and look through. I'm going to start with city council. I'm going to look at all of the public records as to where they got donations, because I'm very curious as to who is funding these campaigns, right? Because there's a real power to the people. There's a power of the people that I don't know that we're fully exercising here in Hamilton County and Cincinnati. I think there's a lot more we could do, or more we could do, that could provide some different results. So I'm going to do that over the Thanksgiving break. I gave myself some homework. I'm just curious as to who was funding the campaigns. Where do people get their money from? And did that translate directly into election votes? You know what I'm saying? I want to look at who raised the most money, and then look at, among the people who raised the most money, how many of them won? Is money still a factor, or is it just party allegiance, or is it a combination? What are the factors? Because that'll give us some insights and maybe even a roadmap as to what we can do to try to affect the system in a very positive way. But I'll do that over the weekend and come back on Monday. Again, give you a heads up, I'm not planning on doing a live stream on Wednesday. I'll be traveling Wednesday morning. I plan on it. Maybe we might do a little bit later, and if something changes, I'll tell you. But I do plan on doing some type of live stream, maybe on Friday. It'll be Black Friday. Maybe back on, maybe off on Wednesday and Thursday and back on Friday. But again, I mean, with the power of these days, I mean, you can go live anywhere. So that's not going to really stop anything. Have an excellent rest of your day. Pardon my issues with the mic. You know, I turn the mic off when people are talking, and sometimes I forget to turn it back on. That's all on me. Hope you had a great Monday, and I hope you're going to have a great Monday. Get out there and exercise. Remember, winners focus on winning. Losers focus on winners. So what does that mean? Don't focus on what the next man or woman is doing. Run your race. Run your race. Stay focused on you and what you have to do. That's all you need. All right. Have an excellent rest of your day, family. I'll catch up with you real soon. We'll talk tomorrow morning, bright and early. Until then, take care of yourself, and I'm out.
Clap the